For more on this, let's bring in Jim Walsh, international security expert. President Trump famously said that ending the Russia-Ukraine war was going to be one of his first priorities, and he said it was going to be relatively easy. It's proving not to be the case, Jim.
Ending war, what in my business they call war termination, is often difficult absent a clear winner, right? If one side sort of crushes the other side, well, things can get solved pretty quickly. But we're in a middle muddle here. We're in the middle where, John, Ukraine can tell itself a story that if it just hangs on for another year, it can win the war. And Putin can tell himself another story that says, well, if I hang in there, the Ukrainians will get sick of this and they'll give in. And under those circumstances, negotiating an end to a war is very difficult.
Well, I recall, thinking about the Blitzkrieg in London. The Nazis thought that if they just bombed London hard enough and threw enough V1s at that city, that the British would eventually give up, but it didn't work. They eventually, the British, it only steeled their resolve back in World War II, and this bloody assault on residential areas in Ukraine might be having the same effect for the Ukrainians.
Yeah, there's a long debate in security studies about strategic bombing. Can you just drop bombs from the air and impose your will? And actually, the historical record is not that great. And yes, Russia continues to pummel away at Ukraine, but it's killing 10 and 20, and 30 people at a time in a country of millions. Now, Russia's the more powerful. Russia has a bigger economy and a bigger population, but it's running its economy into the ground. So on the one hand, you have Ukraine, which is, they're fighting in Ukraine. They're not fighting in Russia. They're fighting in Ukraine, and they're taking the brunt of this, right in the mouth. On the other hand, Russia is not sitting prettily. Its own economic ministers are saying in a year it's going to run out of money. And so both sides come into, well, there won't be two sides. Both sides are weakened and are feeling some pain, and that includes Putin. And the question is whether that's enough to get an agreement, because often, John, what is required is when you're in this sort of long war, is the two sides come to a point of stalemate and exhaustion. I'm not sure we're at that point yet.
In the latest Fox News poll, Americans were asked, about support for Ukraine. 38% said the U.S. should be doing more, according to our latest Fox News survey. Back in October of last year, it was at 23%. So it appears that American support to help Ukraine is actually on the rise.
Yeah, I think so. And part of it is you see these stories coming out of prisoners being executed, war crimes. Putin has had a couple of opportunities to end the war, and he's decided to bulldoze on ahead. And so I think the American public tends to be sympathetic to a country that's invaded by a foreign power. And that's what we've got here. And as you pointed out, with the children being abducted and all the rest of it, is an ugly, ugly scene. And naturally, Americans are going to, they're not going to be sympathetic to Putin in this situation. But it won't be American public opinion that decides this war, unfortunately, John. It's going to be mainly, Trump can have an impact here. Right. But it's mainly going to be the two combatants, the ones that are fighting. Those are the parties that tend to settle these things one way or another. And so unless you have Ukraine and Russia on the same page, on some sort of agreement, then it's going to be hard to make progress.
Americans might not be sympathetic to Putin, but they think that he has the upper hand in the negotiations. That also, according to our latest Fox News poll, 58% say he's got the upper hand. 35% say Trump has the upper hand. How do you see it, Jim?
Well, I think in the war itself, yes, Putin, or really we should say Russia in this case, has the upper hand. Why? Again, they're fighting on Ukraine. There's no fighting happening in Russia. It's the bigger country with the larger military. And so sort of these, and it has geographic advantages. It's right on the border there. Resupply is relatively easy. So in sort of the things you pay attention to in war fighting, they've got a lot of big advantages. But I think Trump walks into this and he has some advantages too. As Ukraine grows weaker, as Putin grows weaker, Trump is not in that situation. And has some ability to try to pressure the two. But again, at the end of the day, when two parties are fighting, it's hard to make them do something they don't want to do on something as critical and important as this.
Jim Walsh, always good to talk to you, Jim. Thank you.
Great to see you, John. Thanks.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.